Hi everyone, Marie here from Marie Cooks Up a New Life. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm an older woman living alone for the first time in my life. I have had a food blog called The English Kitchen for many years now, and I recently decided to make the move into videos. Back in 2020, during the middle of the pandemic, I moved from England back to Canada and started a whole new life alone. And this is the channel where I share everything, little tidbits from my life, but mostly cooking because that's what I like to do most of all. So anyways, welcome. And if you like what you see here, do subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I really appreciate all of those things. I'm not fancy. I'm just a simple person. I am new to this video challenge. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm trying hard. So I do hope you'll be gracious in your opinion of me. All I can be is me, and hopefully that's good enough. So today, I thought I would share a recipe with you that's it's been very popular on the blog, and actually a lot of people like these things. Crumpets. You probably know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, a crumpet is, it sort of resembles a pancake to look at, but that's where any semblance of similarity ends. It's actually a small round yeasted type of bread. I do have a recipe on the blog. I've got it printed out here so I can follow it, because even I'm not good enough to remember these things without looking at a recipe. They're very good. I suppose we've had them in Canada and North America for a long time, but I don't recall ever really seeing them or trying them before I moved over to the UK, to England, and I fell in love with them. They're wonderfully light, they're yeasty, they're beautiful served toasted with butter and jam. They're full of all kinds of little nooks and crannies that just hug whatever it is that you put on them. And they're very simple to make. Trust me, they are very simple to make. One thing that you will need to make them though are crumpet rings, and this is a crumpet ring. It's just a small metal ring, about, I'd say it's about 1.5 inches in height and maybe 4.5 inches in diameter. But don't worry if you can't get these. You can also use tins, tuna tins, small salmon tins, meat spread tins, any tin that's about 4 inches in diameter. Just cut off both ends and you can use that. Right, so crumpets. Early crumpets were hard pancakes, and they were cooked on a griddle, the same as what I'm going to do here today. But nowadays, our crumpets are soft and spongy, and I'm sure they're probably much better than those early ones. I've got my new cooking ring here. Wait, I'm going to move you down below so you can see exactly what I'm doing, because who wants to look at my face during this whole video? Well, you might, but anyways, here. I got myself, let's see, this isn't going very well. Okay. I got myself a cooking thing so that I can actually cook and you can see it. So that's one new thing in my kitchen. I have all of my ingredients are here ready to go. So the first thing that you will need when making crumpets is flour. Now, here's my flour. So I've got here 225 grams, or 1.5 cups plus 2.5 tablespoons of plain all-purpose flour. And to that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt. So I've got my fine sea salt here, and I'm going to add that. That's a 1/2 teaspoon. There's 1 teaspoon. Right, now you're going to want to sift this into your bowl, which I'm doing. That will help aerate the flour. And any little bits of salt that get left in the sifter, just dump them back in. Now, one thing that I forgot to add is a whisk. Oh, just a minute. I'll get this one. I apologize for this. I should have been more ready. I thought I was ready. Okay, so you're going to just whisk the salt and that together. And to that, you're going to add a 7-gram package of fast action yeast, or 2 1/4 teaspoons. So I've got that, and I'm going to add that and whisk that all together. Now, you will also need 11 fluid ounces or 330 milliliters of milk, and you want the milk to be warm, not hot, but warm, just to, blood temperature. And to that, you're going to add a teaspoon of sugar. I'm going to just whisk that a little bit to dissolve the sugar. Now I'm going to make a little bit of a well in the middle of my flour mixture here. And then I'm going to start pouring in my milk and sugar. And I'm just going to like whisk it in as I go along. Whisking it all in until you have a nice smooth batter. You see what's happening because I made like a well in the middle, and as I'm whisking it, it's just gradually pulling in the flour from the edge of the bowl. That'll help it to be lump free. Or it should help it to be lump free. What you're looking for is a somewhat thickish batter. Thicker than a pancake batter, but not overtly thin. It needs to be somewhat thick. I'm just whisking here and whisking until I get it, all the flour incorporated into this batter. And there you have it. It's totally in there. It's a little bit lumpy. So I'm going to give it a really good whisk just to get rid of any lumps that might be there. So you see that? It's a spoonable, nice spoonable batter. Now, after you've got your batter made, this is important, you're going to need to let it sit for an hour before you actually use it. So you cover it with a clean tea towel and leave it to sit in a warm place for approximately an hour. And at that time, it should probably have, might have doubled in size. So do make sure your bowl is large enough. I'm going to just put this right behind me here. And I'm going to get a spoon. Okay. So this is your batter. I'm going to cover it with a clean tea towel, which I have here. I love these flour sack tea towels. They're my favorite thing. Sometimes I embroider on them. Now, just in case you think I'm going to make you wait for an hour for that to rise, ta-da! Here's one I made earlier. Let's see. And you can see why you really need a bowl that's large enough to hold your batter. I'm just going to like stir, give that a bit of a stir. This has actually been sitting a little bit longer than an hour because I was busy getting everything ready. Now, I'm going to turn on my little stove here. Now, this is the first time I'm using it, so I hope that I do it right. I'm going to put it on about a medium heat. And I'm going to brush it with a little bit of oil, just on the bottom. You want a large skillet. If you happen to have a griddle pan with a smooth, flat surface, that would be ideal. I don't happen to have one of those, so I'm just using one of my non-stick skillets. I probably should have been warming this up a little bit before I started. You'll also want to oil your rings. Let me just move this back here so I can do that without getting any oil in my batter. So, these are my rings. Now these rings, I bought mine on Amazon, and I'll leave a link to you for you below in the description box. I'll also leave a link to the printable recipe. So I'm just going to put these in this pan. You make sure you oil them really well because you really don't want your batter to stick. You can see there's no right or wrong side to these. Either side can go down. And you'll want to oil them each time. Now I'm not going to be able to fit all of my crumpets in this pan at once, so I'll have to do it in batches because I just don't have a pan large enough to do them all at once. Let me wipe this off here. I'm just letting this get high. This is really a neat little thing. I hope that I get a lot of use out of it. It's got two burners actually. This is a larger burner that I'm using, and there's a smaller burner there at the back. My kitchen is just too small and too dark for me to be able to cook reasonably in there. Well, I'm just letting that heat. So this is your crumpet batter. You can see it's quite yeasty. It smells lovely. I love the smell of yeast. Just letting this get heated up here. Sorry about this. It's my first time using it, so I'm not sure how long it I probably should have started it sooner, but that's me. I'm learning as I go. Let me see. Maybe I'll just... I'm going to just put a little bit here in the corner and see how that does. See if once it starts to cook, then I'll know it's time for me to add my crumpets. I actually think this is a little bit thick, but we'll see how it goes. Sorry about this. I know if I apologize one more time, you're going to scream. Anyhow, like I said, this is my channel. I'm new at this. I don't know what I'm doing half of the time. I'm lucky I even get these videos uploaded, but I am trying very hard, and I really do hope that you enjoy these videos. And it does mean a lot to me that you even come and watch, so, you know, I'm really thankful for that. Just waiting to see if I can feel any heat coming from. Okay, I can feel some heat now. You don't want to have it too hot because you really don't want your crumpets to burn on the bottom before they're ready to flip over on the top. So you just want a nice sort of a medium hot heat. Okay, so you're going to spoon your crumpet batter into the rings, like so. I do think this batter is a little bit thick for some reason. I'm going to just add a little bit more milk to mine, just to thin it out just a little bit. And that's quite acceptable. If you think your batter is too thick, by all means, add a little bit of milk. I don't know why some days batters will come out thicker than others, but that's just the way it is. That's better. It's dropping a lot easier. Okay. So that first one is going to be a bit of a dud. Let me move this closer. So you want to add, whoop. Look at me making a mess. Do you want to fill your crumpet ring, which I'm doing? I guess it's about a tablespoon and a half that I'm putting in here. This is going to be a real experiment. My first time cooking live on YouTube. Oh my, will we ever survive? I'm spreading them out a little bit to meet the edges of the pan. Okay, so now we're just going to wait while they bake. That's quite common actually, cooking on a griddle stone or a bake stone, as it's sometimes called. It's quite a common thing in the UK. They use them for all sorts. Crumpets, what's that other thing called? Oh, pikelets, pancakes, Scotch pancakes, drop scones. Many things are cooked on a flat grill stone. In the old days, they would have cooked these on a flat grill stone over an open fire. That would be before people got stoves in their house. I'm just waiting. You're going to cook these until they're golden brown on the bottom, and you should see little bubbles coming up to the surface, and they will break the surface, and they'll end up leaving like little tunnels in the dough. And once, it's much like making pancakes. You know, when you make pancakes, you know they're ready to flip over because there's all kinds of little bubbles and divots in the batter. It will be the same thing with these crumpets. When they're ready to flip, you will see little holes and divots in the batter, and hopefully you'll be able to see it from my camera there. I can see that little drip that I did over on the side there is bubbling away now, so I definitely know the pan is warm enough. Now we're just waiting for these holes to appear. And they'll also look a little bit dry on the surface when they're ready to flip. Once you flip them, you're going to remove the rings. I've been ever so encouraged by all of your comments that you've been leaving on my different videos. They really brighten my day, and I do appreciate them. This is, as I said, a huge challenge for me, and I really do hope that you'll come along with me on this journey. I've never lived on my own in my life. I've been used to cooking for a huge family. I raised 5 children, and then I cooked, as I said earlier in an earlier video, I cooked at the manor house, And there I used to cook regularly for large groups of people, dinner parties, silver service, 5 to 6 courses. And it was just me doing it. I would do all the shopping, plan the menus, do all the shopping, prepare the food, and on the day and in the evening if it was a dinner party, in the morning if it was a luncheon, and then the housekeeper would come in and help me to serve. I basically did not like to serve in the dining room because I felt it wasn't the cook's place to be in the dining room, so the housekeeper would actually serve in the dining room for me. So you can see that there are some little bubbles rising to the surface, and there's like little holes appearing as they break. These are soon going to be ready to flip. And once more, I didn't include my tongs for removing these rings, or my flipper for flipping them over. Just a minute, I'll be right back. My trusty drawer here. Okay. Hopefully this will work well. Now this one's quite dry on the surface, so I'm going to just... This is my first time using these rings. And they've stuck. Oh dear. What can I say? Only this could happen to me. Oh well. Get out of there. Usually, this will come right out. I probably didn't oil them well enough. Oh, there it goes. You're not going to want to make these after I show you this video. Okay, these are looking dry on the surface and ready to flip over too. Let's see. Will I have more luck getting this one out? Huh. No. Huh. If you could get non-stick rings, that would be better. I couldn't find non-stick rings. I had non-stick rings in the UK. Here, I just had to make do with these. Oh, that one's out. This is comical. Anyhow, there we go. I'm probably not inspiring you to want to make these on your own, but if you look on my blog, you'll see how nice they do turn out if you have the proper equipment. Come on over there. There's the boy. There we go. Well, success, finally. As you can see, they're like lovely and golden brown. Now, don't confuse crumpets with English muffins. They are not the same thing. There's that piece of batter on the side that dropped there. They're not the same thing at all. I'm going to have to wash these before I make any more. I thought I was going to be able to use the whole batter here and bake up a whole plate of these, but I can see now that's not really going to happen, so I'm going to have to wash these and do some more after. But at least in the meantime, I can show you these. So you want to cook these until they're golden brown on the bottom, and these are golden brown on the bottom. I've got a plate here that I'm going to put them on. Let me get rid of this. Now, this is a very old plate. It was given to my grandmother and her husband as a wedding gift when they got married back in the late 1920s. It was a gift from her brother-in-law, Ralph Connell. And it's very old. It's not worth a lot to anyone but to me and our family. It's nice to be able to have these things that belong to your ancestors, I think. So, these are not really a total success. Oh, look at that. That's a little bit on the side. But we're going to use them anyways. I think my biggest problem was my dough was a bit too thick. I should have really thinned it out a lot more before I started. Okay, so they shouldn't be greasy like that either. These are crumpets. You don't need to split them or anything. Generally speaking, you will eat them just as they are with a bit of butter and jam. I did want to show you. Normally, they're full of little holes. I'm sorry. This is just not turned out the way that I wanted them to. But if you look on my blog, you'll see the way that they're supposed to be. I do apologize. Well, I'm going to enjoy one anyways. I'm just going to spread it with a little bit of butter like you would. If the holes were there, the butter would be sinking down into them. And a little bit of jam. Let's just see how they taste, even if they don't look the way that they should. That's probably going to be really hot. Let's see. It tastes okay, even if it's not as perfect as it should be. Well, there you go. My failure at making crumpets for all the world to see. I am sorry about that. But do take a chance and go and look on my blog, and you'll see how they really are supposed to be. I don't know why these haven't worked today. However, yeah, that's life, right? Some days are diamonds, some days are dust. The important thing is to enjoy the journey along the way. Well, I'm going to leave you with that. My little failure at making crumpets. And I do hope that you have a good day. And I hope that this doesn't put you off of coming to see me other times, you know. And do check it out on the blog, and you'll see much better looking crumpets than these. I just really don't know what happened here. So I'll close as I always do with a thank you for visiting. Do come again. Don't forget, God loves you, and I do too.